Welcome to the deep dive, where we try to, cut through the noise and get straight to the good stuff. Today, we're really digging into a book that's had a massive impact. Stephen R. Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And this isn't just another self-help book, is it? It feels more like a blueprint for living with intention.
Yeah, absolutely. It's much more than that. It came out way back in 1989.
Right, quite a while ago now.
Yeah, and it's become this cornerstone text, really, in personal development, leadership, you name it.
It's one of those books that just keeps popping up, doesn't it? It feels like it genuinely lasts. It changes how you think about getting things done, relationships, even yourself.
Well, what's really key, I think, is how Covey pushes back against what he calls the personality ethic.
Ah, the quick fixes.
Exactly. Those superficial tactics, focusing on image, stuff that doesn't really stick. He champions the character ethic instead. His whole argument is that real effectiveness, the kind that lasts, comes from building your character and aligning yourself with these universal principles.
Like what kind of principles?
Things like integrity, fairness, taking responsibility, focusing on growth, the deep stuff, not just polishing the surface. It's about building from the inside out.
That inside-out idea, the character versus personality, that feels really fundamental, a much deeper path. So our mission today, for you listening, is to pull out the biggest takeaways, the most powerful ideas from this huge work. I mean, this thing has sold, over 40 million copies?
Easily.
Yeah.
And translated into over 40 languages. It's used everywhere, schools, companies, governments.
Wow. Okay, so the goal is, by the end of this, you'll get a real sense of its power and maybe how you can start using some of this in your own life pretty quickly. So let's break it down. Covey starts with something he calls the private victory, right? Where does that begin?
Yes. Pride of victory. It's all about mastering yourself first, achieving independence.
Yeah.
And habit one is be proactive. Now, this isn't just about, taking initiative, although that's part of it. It's deeper. It's understanding you have responsibility.
Responsibility, the ability to choose your response.
Precisely. Even when things happen to you, there's that space between the stimulus and your response. And Covey says that space is where your freedom and power lie. He introduces the idea of your circle of concern, all the things you worry about versus your circle of influence, the things you can actually do something about.
Right. Focus your energy where it counts.
Exactly. Focus on your circle of influence if you want to make a real impact. Don't just spin your wheels worrying about things you can't change.
It sounds so simple, yet.
Eh.
Well, it's hard in practice, isn't it? Why do people find it so tough to be truly proactive day to day? Is it just lack of willpower?
Often it's more about ingrained habits. We're conditioned maybe to blame things outside ourselves, circumstances, other people. Covey argues becoming proactive needs a real paradigm shift. You have to see yourselves as the creator of your life, not just reacting to it.
Taking ownership.
Yes, owning your choices and ultimately your results. And once you really get that, Covey says the next vital step is making sure those choices are actually leading you somewhere you want to go. Which brings us neatly to habit two. Begin with the end in mind.
Okay, begin with the end in mind. Now, it's easy to think this is just goal setting, but Covey puts a lot of emphasis on values and having a personal mission statement. Why is that part so critical? Why not just list some objectives?
Well, because without knowing your core values, your deep down purpose, your goals might just be, chasing what society or someone else says is success. You might climb the ladder only to find it's against the wrong wall.
Ah.
So this habit forces you to really define your own vision. What do you want your life to be about? What really matters to you? Often he suggests writing a personal mission statement to clarify that. It's about designing your life intentionally, based on your principles, before you get caught up in the day-to-day doing.
Okay, so you've got your vision, your end in mind. Then comes habit 3, put first things first. This sounds like time management, but it's more than that.
Oh, much more. It's not just managing time. It's managing yourself in relation to time. It's about prioritizing based on importance, not just urgency.
Importance, not urgency. Got it.
He uses that famous matrix, right? Dividing tasks into 4 quadrants based on whether they're urgent, not urgent, and important, not important. Habit 3 is all about focusing on quadrant 2, the activities that are important but not urgent.
Like what sort of things fall in there?
Things like strategic planning, preventative activities, building relationships, identifying new opportunities, even personal development. The stuff that builds long-term effectiveness, but doesn't usually scream for immediate attention.
The stuff that gets pushed aside by the urgent.
Exactly. The tyranny of the urgent, Covey calls it. This habit is the practical application of habits 1 and 2. It's where you organize and execute around your priorities, learning to say no to things that don't align. It's about preventing crises, not just managing them.
Yeah, that makes sense. We all get sucked into Quadrant 9, putting out fires. What's the biggest mistake people make when trying to live in Quadrant 2?
Honestly, it's just not scheduling it, not consciously making time for it. It takes discipline. It requires that proactive mindset again, choosing to invest in the important long-term stuff, even when the urgent short-term stuff is yelling at you. But mastering these first three habits, be proactive, begin with the end in mind, put first things first. That's what Covey calls the private victory. You move from dependence to independence.
Okay.
And only then, he says, are you really ready for the public victory? The habits focus on working effectively with others. Interdependence.
Right, interdependence. Which kicks off with habit 4, think win-win. This feels crucial for any kind of collaboration or relationship. It's not compromise, is it?
No, that's a key point Covey makes. Win-win isn't compromise where everyone maybe loses a bit. It's seeking solutions that are genuinely beneficial for everyone involved, finding that third alternative.
So it's not win-lose, like I win, you lose.
Or lose-win, where you just give in. Or even lose-lose, where conflict drags everyone down. Covey argues win-win is the only truly sustainable approach for long-term positive relationships. It builds trust and cooperation. And building on that idea of mutual benefit, he then tackles probably the biggest barrier in working together: communication. Or miscommunication.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
His solution is habit 5. Seek first to understand, then to be understood.
Seek first to understand. It sounds so simple, but wow, do we actually do it? It requires really listening, doesn't it? Not just waiting for your turn to talk.
Exactly. It requires what he calls empathetic listening. Listening with the genuine intent to understand the other person's frame of reference, their feelings, their perspective, not just listening to prepare your rebuttal.
That takes effort, real concentration.
It does. But the payoff is huge. When people feel truly heard and understood, it dissolves defensiveness, builds massive trust, and opens a door for real problem solving. You address their needs first. Only then can you effectively get your own point across.
Okay, so win-win sets the attitude. Seek first to understand builds the connection. What's next?
Then comes habit 6.
Synergize.
Synergize. Sounds a bit like corporate jargon, maybe, but it's more than just teamwork, right?
Oh, definitely. Synergy is where the whole becomes greater than the sum of its parts. It's about truly valuing the differences in people, different perspectives, experiences, strengths.
So not just tolerating differences, but seeking them out.
Yes, leveraging those differences to create outcomes that nobody could have achieved on their own. It's about creative cooperation, moving beyond compromise to find new, better solutions together. Think 1 + 1 = 3 or 10 or 100. That's synergy. And these three habits, think win-win, seek first to understand, synergize, they constitute the public victory, moving from independence to true interdependence.
Okay, private victory, public victory.
Oh.
That brings us to the last one. Habit 7, sharpen the saw. What's this about? Sounds like taking a break.
It's more than just a break. It's about continuous renewal. Covey uses the analogy of a woodcutter sawing for hours, becoming less effective because he doesn't stop to sharpen his saw. Right, makes sense.
Habit 7 is about regularly investing in yourself across 4 key dimensions.
4 dimensions.
Yeah. Physical exercise, nutrition, stress management, spiritual connecting with your values, meditation, time in nature, mental reading, learning, planning, writing, and social emotional building relationships, service, empathy. It's basically the habit that makes all the other habits possible in the long run. It prevents burnout, keeps you balanced, and fuels lifelong growth and improvement.
It's like preventative maintenance for yourself.
Exactly. Without deliberately sharpening the saw, how can you possibly stay effective in the other 6 habits over time? You just run out of steam.
Okay, so stepping back and looking at the whole thing, what does this mean for you, listening right now? The strengths seem pretty clear. These are timeless principles, right? Not just passing fads.
Absolutely. They feel universal.
And it's a whole system covering basically all areas of life. Plus, the advice feels very actionable. It's not just theory.
Yeah, the focus on character over personality. That's the really powerful core message, I think.
Now, are there any common criticisms or maybe downsides?
Well, some people find the language a bit dense or academic at first, maybe.
Okay, fair enough.
And it definitely requires real commitment. This isn't a weekend fix. It's about deep change, which takes time and effort. Maybe some examples feel a little dated now, being from the late 80s.
But the core ideas themselves.
Oh, the core principles are absolutely solid. They hold up incredibly well.
So the big takeaways seem to be, you always have a choice in how you respond. That's huge.
Huge. That's proactivity.
Live intentionally. Decide what matters most and let that drive your actions, not just urgency or what others expect.
That's begin with the end in mind and put first things first.
Building trust through seeking mutual benefit and truly listening,
Mhm.
that's way more effective long term than just trying to win.
Win-win and seek first to understand.
Yep. And maybe most importantly, taking care of yourself, that balance and renewal isn't optional, it's essential.
Sharpen the saw. It fuels everything else.
So, who is this book really for? It feels pretty broad.
Honestly. Anyone looking for significant personal growth, better leadership skills, or just a more effective and fulfilling way to live, students, managers, parents, entrepreneurs, the principles are universal. They tap into fundamental human needs and potential.
Okay, final verdict time. Where do we land on the 7 habits of highly effective people?
I'd give it a resounding 9.5 out of 10. It really is more than just a self-help classic. It's a deep, coherent philosophy for living and leading with purpose and integrity.
Yeah, 9.5 feels right.
It's a genuine challenge in the best way. It pushes you to grow from the inside out to build effectiveness based on character, not tricks or shortcuts.
So, to leave you with something to think about, Covey puts so much emphasis on choosing your response, on living intentionally based on principles. Here's a question. How might consciously picking just one of these core principles, maybe being more proactive today, or really trying to understand someone before replying, or even just scheduling 30 minutes to sharpen your saw, how might focusing on just one thing like that fundamentally shift how you feel about your sense of control or maybe your connection with others just today? Something to ponder as you go about your day. Thanks for diving deep with us.